I stared at my sister's Instagram post until my eyes burned. There it was, a pristine Hermes Birkin bag, carefully arranged next to a champagne glass at some rooftop bar in Miami. Price tag? $3,200. Just last week, Mom called to say they couldn't afford Dad's new walker. My name is Brianna, and I'm what you'd call the bad daughter, at least according to my family. Never mind that I send $12,500 every month for my parents' care. Never mind that I worked myself half to death to become a software engineer while my younger sister Savannah was still finding herself at 29. My phone buzzed. Mom's name flashed across the screen. "Hi, Mom." "Brianna." Her voice carried that familiar note of disappointment. "Your sister's been running herself ragged taking care of everything here. The least you could do is call more often." I gripped my coffee mug tighter. "I've been busy with work. How's Dad?" "Oh, now you ask about your father? Savannah's the one driving him to all his appointments, you know. She barely has time for herself anymore." I opened my laptop, pulling up my banking app. There it was, another $2,500 transfer from last week, marked Parents' Care. "Mom, I send money every month for—" "Money isn't everything, Brianna. Savannah gives her time. When was the last time you visited?" Through my apartment window, Seattle's skyline sparkled in the morning sun. My boyfriend Corey was still asleep in our bedroom, probably exhausted from listening to me vent about my family until 2 a.m. "I'll try to visit soon," I said, knowing it wouldn't be enough. It never was. "Well, your sister's organizing a fundraiser for your father's medical expenses. The least you could do is contribute." I nearly choked on my coffee. "A fundraiser? But I've been sending—" "I have to go. Savannah's taking your father to physical therapy. You know, the appointments you're too busy to attend." The line went dead. I sat there staring at my phone, then clicked back to Instagram. Savannah's latest story showed her at Sunday brunch, designer sunglasses perched on her nose, caption reading, "Self-care is important." My office messenger pinged. It was Abraham, my friend and accountant from work. "Hey, saw your sister's GoFundMe page making rounds. Isn't that the same amount you've been sending monthly?" I clicked the link he shared. There it was, a touching story about our struggling family, complete with filtered photos of Savannah holding Dad's hand in the hospital. Goal amount, $2,500 monthly. My hands shook as I typed. That's exactly what I send them. Abraham, want me to take a look at where that money's really going? Before I could respond, another Instagram notification popped up. Savannah, posting a photo of herself looking exhausted in scrubs. She's a part-time receptionist at a dental office, with the caption, "Another day, sacrificing everything for family. Some people just don't understand what it means to care." Blessed Chikor family first. The comments flooded in. "You're such an amazing daughter." "Your sister should help more. Angels like you deserve everything good in life." Corey wandered into the living room, hair messy from sleep. One look at my face, and he knew. "Your mom called?" I nodded, showing him the GoFundMe page. "Jesus," he muttered. "Bree, you need to say something." "They won't believe me. They never do." I turned back to my laptop, typing a response to Abraham. "Yes, please look into it. I need to know everything." My phone buzzed again, a group text from Mom. "Your sister's arranged a wonderful dinner for your father this weekend. She's working extra shifts to pay for it. It would be nice if you could contribute something for once." I looked at Savannah's Instagram one more time. She'd posted another story, a shopping bag from Gucci with the caption, "Treat yourself." That was it. I'd been the silent daughter long enough. I replied to Mom's text, "I'll be there, and I'll bring receipts." Corey read the message over my shoulder and whistled. "You sure about this?" I closed my laptop with a snap. "They want to talk about contributions? Let's talk about where my money really goes." The truth about being the bad daughter is that eventually you get tired of wearing the label. And sometimes the only way to fix a broken family is to break it yourself first. Abraham spread the bank statements across his desk like he was dealing cards. Each paper told its own story, and none of them matched what my family believed. "Look at these transactions," he said, pointing to a series of withdrawals. "The money you send goes into your parents' account on the first of every month. Within days, large sums are transferred to a separate account." I leaned closer. "Savannah's?" "Bingo." He pulled up a spreadsheet on his monitor. "And here's where it gets interesting. The day after each transfer, there are charges at Gucci, Louis Vuitton, high-end restaurants." My phone buzzed. Another group text from Mom. "Savannah's making Dad's favorite lasagna tonight. She spent her last paycheck on groceries. Wish you could be here." I showed Abraham the message. He raised an eyebrow and pulled up a transaction from that same day, a $900 charge at Nordstrom. "Some expensive groceries," he muttered. "I need to see everything," I said, pulling out my laptop. "Her social media, bank records, all of it." "Already on it," Abraham typed rapidly. "Did you know your sister has a private Instagram account?" "What?" "No." He turned the screen toward me. There it was, Alors Savannah Lux Life, a hidden account with carefully curated photos of designer purchases, spa days, and weekend getaways. The captions made my blood boil. "Living my best life on my own terms, shucks self-made. Another day, another bag, work hard, play harder. Miami weekends hit different when you earn it yourself." My hands shook as I scrolled. Every post was time-stamped within days of my monthly transfers. "There's more," Abraham said, pulling up a Facebook conversation he'd found. It was between Savannah and her friend Grace. Grace: "Girl, that new Chanel is. How do you afford all this?" Savannah: "Let's just say my sister's guilt complex is very generous." Grace: "OMG spill." Savannah: "She's too busy being successful to visit, so she sends money instead. Mom and Dad think it all goes to medical bills." Grace: "And they don't know?" Savannah: "Please. Mom thinks I'm an angel who sacrifices everything. Meanwhile, Miami next weekend?" The office door opened and Corey walked in with coffee. One look at my face and he set the cups down. "What did you find?" I turned the laptop toward him. His eyes widened as he scrolled. "Holy shit, Bree." "It gets better," Abraham said, pulling up more documents. "That GoFundMe? She's running 3 different ones under slightly different names, each one collecting about what you send monthly." My phone buzzed again. This time it was Savannah directly. "Hey sis, haven't heard from you in forever. Mom's really upset you never visit. I'm doing my best to help them understand you're just busy with your important job." I showed the others. Corey's jaw clenched. "You're going to confront them, right?" he asked. "Not yet." I started forwarding documents to my email. "First, I need everything. Every receipt, every post, every conversation. I want proof that's impossible to deny." Abraham nodded, typing again. "Look at this. She's been telling your parents the medical insurance lapsed because you forgot to pay. Meanwhile, she's posting about her spa weekends." My phone lit up with the notification. Savannah had just posted a new Instagram story, a tearful selfie in her car. Sometimes I wish people knew how hard it is to carry everything alone, but we do what we must for family. Blessed Shikhan daughter. The comments poured in immediately. "You're an angel." "Your sister should be ashamed." "Some people just don't understand family comes first." I closed the laptop with a snap. "Abraham, I need copies of everything, and I mean everything." He nodded, already printing. "What are you going to do?" I thought about years of guilt trips, of being called the cold, distant daughter while my sister played saint with my money, of Dad struggling with his old walker while Savannah posted about her new Gucci slides. "Mom wants me at family dinner this weekend," I said, gathering the documents. I think it's time I finally showed up, with receipts. Corey squeezed my shoulder. "Want me to come with you?" I shook my head, looking at another incoming text from Mom. Your sister's crying because you never call, after everything she does for this family. No, I said, starting to organize the papers into a folder. This is between family, and it's time they saw exactly what family means to Savannah. The truth was coming, whether they were ready or not, and it would cost a lot more than a Birkin bag. The memory hit me as I drove home from Abraham's office. I was 16, standing in our kitchen, clutching my first paycheck from my after-school job at the local grocery store. I can help with bills now, I'd said, holding out the envelope to Mom. But Savannah had burst into tears right then, stealing the moment like she always did. It's not fair. Brianna gets to work and have her own money, while I have to stay home and help Dad. Mom had rushed to comfort her, shooting me that look I knew too well. Your sister's right. She's giving up so much to help the family. The least you could do is share. I'd handed over the entire check. My phone's GPS chirped, jolting me back to present day. I pulled into my apartment complex, but instead of going upstairs, I sat in my car, scrolling through old family photos on my phone. There was Savannah at her high school graduation, Mom crying happy tears. Me at mine? I'd walked alone. They couldn't make it because Savannah had a dance recital. My phone buzzed with a text from Grace, Savannah's friend. That was unexpected. Can we meet? There's something you should know. I stared at the message for a long moment before responding. Cafe on 4th, 30 minutes. Grace was already there when I arrived, fidgeting with her coffee cup. She looked nervous. Thanks for coming, she said as I sat down. I saw the GoFundMe page Savannah posted. Which one? Grace's eyes widened. There's more than one? I pulled out my phone, showing her Abraham's findings. Her face fell with each swipe. Oh, God, she whispered. I knew she was spending money, but this... Tell me what you know. Grace glanced around before leaning forward. Last week, at brunch, she was bragging about how she's got everyone fooled. She said... Grace paused, looking sick. She said you're her personal ATM, and your parents are too stupid to figure it out. My coffee turned bitter in my mouth. Did she record it? What? The brunch? Did anyone take videos? Grace pulled out her phone. Actually, yeah. I always record our mimosa toasts. It's kind of our thing. She found the video and pressed play. There was Savannah, champagne glass raised, designer sunglasses perched on her head. To my darling sister, she slurred, giggling, who works so hard so I don't have to. God, she's such an idiot. Mom and Dad actually think I'm spending the money on them. More laughter. Here's to guilt, the gift that keeps on giving. Grace stopped the video, looking ashamed. I'm sorry. I should have said something sooner. Send me that video. As if on cue, my phone buzzed with a call from Mom. Brianna, your sister's beside herself. She tried so hard to make that fundraiser work, and you haven't even shared it with your wealthy tech friends. I watched Grace's face as she listened to my mother's voice carry through the speaker. Mom, where does the money I send every month go? What money? Savannah says you barely send anything anymore. Do you know she's been working overtime to cover Dad's medications? Grace's jaw dropped. She mouthed, Oh my God, as I replied. Really? What about the $12,500 I sent last week? Don't be ridiculous. We never got any... Hold on, your sister wants to talk to you. There was rustling, then Savannah's voice, honey sweet. Sis, stop upsetting Mom. You know how fragile she is. I've got everything handled here, okay? Grace was already pulling up more videos on her phone, showing me thumbnails of Savannah at spas, shopping trips, weekend getaways, all dated to match my transfers. Everything handled, I repeated. Like the Miami trip last month? A pause. What are you talking about? Or the Birkin bag? The Gucci shoes? The weekly spa days? You're spying on me? Her voice turned sharp. What, you think because you send a little money, you can control everything? Grace slid her phone across the table. Another video played silently. Savannah throwing shopping bags in her car trunk, laughing about how she'd told Mom I'd stopped sending support. The dinner this weekend, I said. I'll be there. Don't bother, Savannah snapped. You'll just upset Mom more. I'll tell them you're too busy with your perfect life. Oh, I'm coming. And Savannah, bring those receipts you've been hiding. I hung up before she could respond. Grace was still there, looking torn. She'll never forgive me for showing you these. No, I agreed, gathering the evidence. But my father might finally get the walker he needs. As I stood to leave, Grace called after me. What are you going to do? I thought about years of manipulation, of calculated tears and practiced lies, of my parents struggling while Savannah posted poolside selfies with my money. I'm going to show them the truth, I said. All of it. And this time, there wouldn't be enough tears in the world to wash away the evidence. I hadn't planned on buying the recording device. But there I was in the electronics store, testing how well it could pick up conversation from across a room. The saleswoman raised an eyebrow as I made my purchase. Family drama? She asked. Something like that. The drive to my parents' house took 3 hours. Every mile marker brought back memories. The gas station where we'd stop for road trip snacks. The diner where Dad taught us to count change. Back when Savannah was just my little sister, not my personal embezzler. Mom opened the door before I could knock. Brianna, what a surprise. Her smile faltered. Savannah didn't mention you were coming. Thought I'd drop by, see how Dad's doing. The house looked exactly the same, except for the worn furniture that should have been replaced months ago. My money could have bought 3 new sets by now. Dad was in his usual chair, hands trembling slightly as he held his coffee cup. The old walker leaned against the wall nearby, one wheel wobbling. Hey, Dad? He smiled, genuine but tired. Good to see you, kiddo. Where's Savannah? I asked, carefully setting my overnight bag down. Oh, she's at work, Mom said, wringing her hands. Such long hours, that girl. So dedicated. I checked my phone. Instagram showed Savannah had posted a story 2 hours ago from a nail salon. Taking care of me so I can take care of others. Sharp and blessed. I thought I'd stay the night, I said. Catch up properly. Mom brightened. You can use Savannah's room. She's staying at a friend's tonight anyway. Something about an early morning shift. Perfect. I waited until they were asleep before setting up the recording device. Tucked behind Savannah's jewelry box, it had a clear view of the room. Then I went downstairs and settled onto the old couch, pretending to sleep. At 2 a.m., the front door creaked open. Savannah's heels clicked on the hardwood floor, definitely not coming from a hospital shift. She was on the phone, voice low but clear. No, it's fine. The idiot actually showed up. Yeah, probably trying to spy on me or something. No, Mom and Dad still think I'm working nights. I lay perfectly still as she passed the living room. The next morning I retrieved the device while Savannah was in the shower, plugged in my earbuds, started listening. God, Grace, you should see how they fawn over me. Poor Savannah, working so hard. Meanwhile, I just dropped $2,000 at Nordstrom. No, they never check the accounts. Mom can barely work her phone. More shuffling sounds then. Yeah, Brianna sends the money like clockwork. Such a good little ATM. What? No, I'm not worried. She's too scared of looking like the bad guy to ever say anything. The shower stopped. I quickly packed the device away just as Savannah emerged, wrapped in an expensive-looking robe. Oh, she startled. Didn't know you were still here. Just leaving, actually. I shouldered my bag. Nice robe. She clutched it tighter. It was on sale. Really? Because I saw it at Neiman Marcus last week. $1,200, wasn't it? Her eyes narrowed. Are you checking up on me? Just curious how a part-time receptionist affords designer robes. I work hard, she snapped. Not that you'd know anything about sacrifice. I pulled out my phone, pulled up her hidden Instagram account. Her face went pale. How did you... Funny thing about social media, I said quietly. It keeps receipts better than you do. She stepped closer, voice dropping to a hiss. What do you want? Family dinner, tonight, Everyone present. I can't. I have a shift. No, you have a spa appointment at 4 and dinner reservations at 7. Cancel them. Her face went from pale to red. You bitch? You been stalking me? Oh no, sister dear. I've been auditing you. Big difference. I headed for the stairs, then turned back. One more thing. Bring your bank statements. All of them. Or what? I played the recording from last night. Her own voice filled the space between us. God, they're so stupid. Dad needs a walker. Please. I need a new bag collection. Savannah lunged for my phone, but I pulled it away. 7 p.m., I said. Don't be late. They'll never believe you, she called after me. I'm the one who's been here. I'm the one they trust. I paused at the front door. Trust is like designer bags, Savannah. Both can be fake. As I drove away, my phone buzzed with a text from Mom. Savannah's crying. What did you say to her? I didn't respond. Tonight, actions would speak louder than words, and I had 3 years of receipts ready to do the talking. Abraham's office looked like a war room. Documents covered every surface, each one a bullet in the gun I was about to fire. Everything's organized chronologically, he said, handing me a thick binder. Bank statements, social media posts, receipts, and recordings, all matched by date. I flipped through the pages. You even included the GoFundMe screenshots? All 3 of them, plus the Facebook messages where she brags about scamming you. My phone buzzed. Savannah. I'm not coming tonight. I told Mom I'm sick. I replied with the spa video from her private Instagram, timestamped 2 hours ago. Really? Because you look fine here, 7 p.m. You can't make me. I sent another clip, her voice bragging about stealing Dad's medication money for a weekend in Vegas. 7 p.m., I repeated, unless you want Mom to see these first. No response. Corey appeared in the doorway, holding coffee. You ready for this? No, I admitted, accepting the cup. But it needs to be done. Want me on standby? Yeah, just around the corner, in case things get ugly. My phone lit up again. Mom this time. Savannah's very upset. She says you're threatening her? What's gotten into you? I showed Abraham and Corey the message. Abraham handed me one more document. Almost forgot. Proof that she canceled Dad's physical therapy sessions but kept charging you for them. I added it to the binder. Any last advice? Don't let them interrupt, Corey said. Show everything at once. Don't give them time to make excuses. And record everything, Abraham added, passing me a small device. Trust me. The drive to my parents' house felt longer this time. Every mile marker seemed to ask, Are you sure? Are you ready? Are you prepared to break your family to fix it? I parked behind Savannah's car, a new BMW she definitely couldn't afford on a receptionist's salary. Through the window, I could see everyone already seated at the dining room table. Mom opened the door, lips tight. I don't know what's going on, but your sister's very upset. Good, I said, walking past her. She should be. Dad looked up as I entered, his hands shaking more than usual. Savannah sat across from him, wearing a designer dress I'd seen posted on her secret Instagram last week. Price tag, $1,800. What's this about? Mom demanded as I sat down. Savannah says you're trying to cause trouble. I opened the binder. 3 years ago, I started sending $2,500 monthly for Dad's care. That's $90,000 total. I laid out the bank statements. Here's where that money went instead. Savannah stood up. I'm not listening to this. Sit down. My voice could have frozen hell. You've done enough talking. I played the recording from her room. Her own voice filled the silence. They're so stupid. I can't believe how easy this is. Mom's face went white. Dad's coffee cup clattered against his saucer. That's not what it sounds like, Savannah stammered. I pulled out my phone, opened her hidden Instagram, started scrolling through photos, Savannah with luxury bags, at high-end restaurants, on expensive vacations, all posted the same days I'd sent money for Dad's care. The walker Dad needs costs $600, I said quietly. Your last handbag cost $200. Brianna, stop this, Mom pleaded. There must be some mistake. I laid down the GoFundMe printouts. 3 different campaigns, all asking for the exact amount I send monthly, all claiming Dad gets no support. Savannah lunged for the papers. I caught her wrist. Touch them, and the police get copies next. She fell back into her chair, tears starting. Mom, she's trying to turn you against me. The physical therapy receipts, I continued, laying them out. Sessions you canceled but kept charging me for. The medication bills you inflated, the insurance payments you pocketed. Dad picked up one of the papers with trembling hands. His eyes moved slowly across the numbers. All this time, he whispered. I can explain, Savannah sobbed. I needed... What? I cut in. What did you need more than Dad's medication? His therapy? His walker? I pulled out one final document, a summary of all her luxury purchases over 3 years. The total made Mom gasp. Everything's here, I said, closing the binder. Every lie, every theft, every time you chose yourself over Dad's health. Savannah was crying openly now, but they weren't her usual manipulative tears. These were real, the tears of someone watching their carefully constructed world crumble. What do you want? She choked out. I want you gone, I said simply. From this house, from Dad's accounts, from my money, all of it. You can't. I already did. I stood up. The trust is set up, the lawyers are waiting, and if 1 more cent goes missing. I gestured at the binder. This all goes public. I left them there, Mom frozen, Dad still holding that damning paper, and Savannah, for once in her life, completely speechless. In my car, Corey was waiting. How'd it go? I started the engine. The truth hurts, but lies cost more. The aftermath came in waves. First the calls, dozens of them, all ignored, then the texts, each more desperate than the last. Mom, please, we need to talk about this as a family. Savannah, I'll pay it back, I swear. Mom, your sister's hysterical. How could you do this to her? Savannah, they're going to kick me out. Where am I supposed to go? I sat in my apartment, watching the messages roll in while Corey made coffee. You okay? He asked, setting a mug in front of me. Before I could answer, my phone rang. Dad. My finger hesitated over the screen before accepting. Hello? The walker arrived today. His voice was quiet, steady. The medical supply company said all the back-ordered equipment has been paid for. Yes? And the physical therapy sessions? Reinstated, twice a week, starting Monday. A long pause. Were you ever going to tell us? Would you have believed me without proof? Another pause. No, probably not. In the background, I could hear Mom and Savannah arguing. Their voices grew closer until Mom's came through clearly. Brianna, your sister has something to say. No, my voice was firm. I'm done with her explanations. But she's your sister. Mom, Dad cut in. Enough. Shuffling sounds, then a door slammed. Mom's voice, distant now. Savannah, wait! She left, Dad reported. Took her bags and left. Good. Your mother's upset. Mom's always upset with me, I said. That's nothing new. He sighed. The trust fund paperwork came today. And? I signed it. Your mother, she's still thinking about it. I took a sip of coffee, letting that sink in. The trust would ensure all future support went directly to medical expenses with a third-party overseer. No more middleman. No more Savannah. She posted something, Shaw, Corey said quietly, showing me his phone. Savannah's Instagram story showed her tearfully packing designer bags into her BMW. Caption, when your own sister destroys your family because she's jealous of your relationship with Mom and Dad. Some people can't handle not being the favorite. The comments were already flowing. Stay strong. Family can be so toxic. You deserve better. My phone buzzed again. Grace. She's at my place, she said when I answered, saying you're trying to frame her? Did you show her the videos you took? Yeah, she says they're edited. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. Of course she does. She's calling everyone, trying to get loans to pay you back, so you'll drop this. It's not about the money. I know, Grace said softly. It's about the lies. Another call beeped in. Mom again. I switched back. The trust paperwork, she said immediately. I don't understand why. Yes, you do. She's your sister. She made mistakes, but... Mistakes? I cut in. She stole $90,000. She canceled Dad's therapy. She was here, Mom's voice cracked. She was here every day while you were off living your life. Living my life? I was working to send money that she spent on handbags while Dad couldn't even walk properly. Silence. Sign the paperwork, Mom, or don't. But I'm done enabling her, and I'm done being guilted for supporting this family the only way you'd let me. I hung up. Corey wrapped an arm around my shoulders. Your mom will come around. No, I said. She won't. But Dad will get his therapy, and that's what matters. My phone lit up with a final text from Savannah. I hope you're happy. You've ruined everything. I thought about Dad's trembling hands holding those damning receipts, about years of manipulation and lies, about a walker that could have been bought 100 times over with the money she'd spent on luxury goods. I typed back, No, Savannah, you did that all on your own. Then I blocked her number. Later that night, Dad sent a photo, him standing with the new walker, a small smile on his face. No caption needed. Corey looked at the picture over my shoulder. Worth it? I thought about the family dinner that had started all this, about the binder of evidence that had finally forced the truth into the light, about Mom's denial and Savannah's tears and Dad's quiet acceptance. Truth hurts, I said, saving the photo, but lies almost killed him. Sometimes breaking a family is the only way to save it, and sometimes being the bad daughter means being the only one brave enough to stop the bleeding. 1 month after the confrontation, I sat in Abraham's office, reviewing the trust's first financial report. Every penny was accounted for, every medical expense properly documented. Your father's physical therapy is showing good progress, Abraham said, pointing to a chart. The new medication regime is working too. My phone buzzed, a text from Grace. Thought you should know. Savannah's selling her designer bags online. Says she needs rent money. I set the phone face down without replying. Your mother signed the trust paperwork, Abraham continued, sliding a document across his desk. Came in this morning. I stared at her signature, remembering our last conversation a week ago. The country club ladies keep asking where Savannah is, she'd said, voice tight with accusation. Do you know she's working as a waitress now? Better than stealing from Dad. She made mistakes. No, Mom, she made choices. Every single day, she chose handbags over Dad's health. The line had gone quiet before Mom whispered, I didn't want to see it. I know. That's why I had to show you. Now, looking at her signature on the trust documents, I wondered if she'd finally understood. My office door opened and Corey walked in with coffee. Your dad called. He wants to meet for lunch. Just Dad? Just Dad. The diner was quiet when I arrived. Dad sat in a booth by the window, his new walker parked beside him. His hands were steadier now. You look better, I said, sliding into the seat across from him. Feel better, too. He pushed a manila envelope across the table. Found these while cleaning out Savannah's room. Inside were more receipts, luxury purchases dating back even further than I'd known, and something else, a journal. Read the marked page, Dad said quietly. I opened to a bookmark and felt my stomach turn. Brianna's such an idiot. Send her a sad text about Dad's medication and boom, another transfer. Mom and Dad never check the accounts anyway. It's almost too easy. There's more, Dad said. 5 years' worth. I closed the journal. Dad, No, he cut in. Let me finish. I've been quiet too long. He took a deep breath. I failed you both. Savannah, by never setting boundaries, and you, by never seeing how much you actually did. The waitress arrived with coffee. We waited until she left before continuing. Your mother's having a harder time, he said, stirring his cup. The trust paperwork, that was big for her, admitting she was wrong. And Savannah? Gone. Really gone this time. The bank foreclosed on her car yesterday. My phone buzzed. Another text from Grace. She's telling everyone you stole her inheritance and turned her family against her. No one's believing it anymore. Dad saw the message. She tried the same story at church. Pastor James asked her about the GoFundMe accounts. She left crying. Are you okay? I asked. With all of this? He looked out the window for a long moment. I can walk without shaking now. My medication actually arrives on time, and my daughter... He turned back to me, eyes wet. My real daughter finally stopped carrying everyone else's lies. The waitress returned with our food. Dad's hands didn't shake at all as he picked up his fork. Your mother wants to have dinner next week, he said. Just the three of us. I don't know. She's trying, Brianna. It's hard, admitting you've been fooled by your own child. Harder still admitting you hurt another one believing the lies. My phone buzzed again. Savannah, from a new number. The bank took my car. Mom and Dad won't help. This is all your fault. I showed Dad the message. Block that number too, he said firmly. She needs to learn. And Mom? She will too. Different lesson, same teacher, truth. I thought about the trust paperwork, Mom's signature finally joining Dad's, about Savannah's empty room and sold designer bags, about Dad sitting across from me, hands steady enough to hold his coffee cup. Okay, I said, dinner next week, but we're not talking about Savannah. No, Dad agreed. We're talking about you, all the things we should have said years ago. As we finished lunch, Dad insisted on paying, with his own money, carefully budgeted from the trust. Proud of you, kiddo, he said as we walked out. Takes courage to be the bad guy long enough to prove you're actually the good one. I watched him navigate his walker confidently down the sidewalk and thought about family, not the one I'd broken, but the one I might have helped heal. Sometimes the biggest act of love is simply stopping the hurt, even if you have to hurt someone to do it. The autumn wind rustled through Mom's garden as I pulled into their driveway. Through the kitchen window, I could see her teaching Corey how to make her famous apple pie, a scene I never thought I'd witness. The secret is in how you cut the apples, she was saying as I walked in. Brianna never had the patience for it. Still don't, I said, setting down my laptop bag. That's why I bring the ice cream. Mom's smile was smaller these days, but more genuine. The performance of perfect family had ended. Reality was harder, but healthier. Your father's in his study, she said, going through more of the papers. I found Dad at his desk, surrounded by bank statements and receipts, not from the trust, but from before. He'd made it his mission to trace every dollar, every lie, every moment he'd missed while believing Savannah's stories. Look at this, he said without looking up. October 2019. She told us you'd stop sending money for my medication. That same week, she bought a $3,000 watch. Dad, you don't have to. Yes, I do. He finally met my eyes. Every time I find something like this, it reminds me to thank you for not giving up, for being strong enough to be the bad guy. My phone buzzed, a news alert about a local charity scam. Below it, a text from Grace. Savannah tried to start another GoFundMe. They shut down her account. She's still trying, I told Dad, showing him the message. But not succeeding, he said firmly. Not anymore. Mom appeared in the doorway, wiping her hands on her apron. Dinner's ready. Corey set the table. The dining room looked different now. Savannah's empty chair had been removed, the space filled with a small side table holding family photos, real ones, not staged performances for social media. How's the new physical therapist? I asked as we sat down. Better than the old one, Dad said. Amazing what actual, regular sessions can do. And the medications? Mom spoke up. All delivered on time. The trust manager sends me weekly reports. She paused. I read every line, every time. I won't miss things again. Corey squeezed my hand under the table. The church ladies still ask about her, Mom continued, staring at her plate. I tell them the truth now, all of it. It's harder than pretending, but better. Speaking of truth, Dad said, pulling out an envelope. This came today. Inside was a check from Savannah for $500. She wrote partial repayment in the memo line, Dad explained. It's the first time she's acknowledged. What are you going to do with it? I asked. Mom reached for the check. We're donating it to the hospital's therapy department. She met my eyes. Some things can't be repaid with money. My phone buzzed again. Another new number. Savannah. I sent them money. Are you happy now? Will you call off the lawyers? Dad saw the message. Block her, he said quietly. She's still trying to buy her way out instead of facing what she did. I blocked the number, then looked around the table, at Dad's steady hands cutting his food, at Mom's quiet determination to face reality, at Corey fitting into this broken, healing family like he'd always belonged. The pie should be ready, Mom said, standing. Brianna, help me serve it? In the kitchen, she turned to me suddenly. I'm sorry, she whispered, for not seeing, for making you be the bad guy, for everything. Mom? No, let me finish. You were the good daughter all along, the strong one, the one who did what needed to be done, even when it hurt, even when I made it harder. The timer dinged. Mom pulled out the pie, its aroma filling the kitchen. I'm learning, she said, cutting perfect slices, to see truth instead of what I want to see, to be strong instead of just pretending. Back at the table, Dad raised his coffee cup. To family, he said, the real kind. I thought about the trust paperwork, safely managed now, about Dad's steady progress in therapy, about Mom, slowly learning to face hard truths instead of comfortable lies. To family, I agreed. Later, as Corey and I drove home, he asked, was it worth it? All the pain, the confrontation, being the bad guy? I thought about Dad walking steadily with his new walker, about Mom's genuine, if smaller, smiles, about truth finally having its day. Some families need to break before they can heal, I said. Sometimes the bad guy is the only one brave enough to break them right. The truth doesn't always set you free. Sometimes it just shows you who was holding you captive all along.